We're back with Senior Talk Radio on 88.1 FM and again, WCWP.org. I'm Peter Janowski, sitting in for my very best friend, John Ryan. And for those of you who are listening and not watching, if I probably didn't say who I was, I sound an awful lot like John, and I hope I'm carrying the Brooklyn, Long Island accent well today. Thank you. We just had a really good show with Gina Saletti from the 16th Assembly District, state of New York. I'm sure she's decompressing now because she was talking a lot and she did wonderful. I'm sure Otto probably has leftover questions. We'll have to have her on again. But I think given the fact that she's so new and having the hurdle of having to jump into this new position virtually and not being able to get into it, in the normal sense with actually meeting with people, I'm sure she's doing a fantastic job. It can't be easy on her. And I'm sure a lot of the questions that Otto had and I had probably wouldn't even be appropriate yet because things are just stalled. The priorities are different now.
Well, I think what was good about that whole thing is it really showed the human side of that kind of position. All right. In other words, Gina had the same problem as anybody else for any job. She didn't know where to park. She didn't know where her office was going to be. She didn't know anything. And I think people, sometimes we kind of look at a politician and think that, they're like, this is what they do and it's not a big deal. But the facts are it's a whole new human experience and she's in a new world. And that's important. And she gave us a very good picture of that world, I think.
Absolutely. It was a great, segue. And it just shows her, I've known Gina for years and you could just see her enthusiasm and spirit, and especially that's what you need during this time, as we were saying, when things are so incredibly different, and she has that spark. And it was a really great glimpse into kind of her journey. And I think that's what's going to make her a success. I've known Gina in all of her different roles throughout, in the county and North Hempstead and so on. So I think it was just great job, guys. I think it was quite the debut for her. So now all the other shows are going to have a lot to live up to because I think you guys covered so much. So it was
thanks, Kristina. Yes. I think we're going to break for a special report now. We have a special guest, Nassau County Executive Laura Curran with us. And John Ryan, who I'm sitting in for, was telling me that she was coming on to give us a little update on the COVID situation. Correct, Laura?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Hello, Peter and Otto and Kristina. It's nice to be with you, albeit virtually.
Yes. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me. Yeah, there's a lot to catch up on.
Feel free. I'm going to hand it over to you. I know you want to give us a little bit of an update, so I think that you could start off and then I'm sure Otto will grill you with questions later.
I actually have three questions.
You want to start with your questions or do you want me to give you my spiel first, Otto? What do you want to do?
However you want to do it.
All right, I'll just give you the headlines and then we can drill down. Right. So far, we have had about 30% of our residents here in Nassau County get at least first dose of vaccine, which is wonderful. That's actually more than any other large county in the state in terms of percentage of people being vaccinated. So we have our wonderful hospital partners that are doing vaccination. Pharmacies are coming online now, and our county Department of Health is running 3 and soon will be 4. On Tuesday, we're opening up the Coliseum for vaccine. Our county Department of Health will be running 4 points of distribution. And we've had great partnerships with Northwell, with Mercy Hospital, with Mount Sinai South Nassau, with NYU Langone, with NUMIC, of course, at NUMC. We're doing about 300 veterans vaccinations every week. We're going to keep that going. If you're a veteran or family member of a veteran, please call 516-572-6565 to make your appointment at NUMIC. We also, starting today, have a hotline for seniors. A lot of seniors have had a hard time logging on, getting an appointment. We're getting more doses down to our neck of the woods, which is good. We know it all comes from the state, but we've heard loud and clear from many of our seniors and from their families that they're having a hard time getting an appointment online. So that hotline is 516-227-9590. And I'm going to double check that that's right. I don't want to steer anyone wrong here.
Yeah, that's
Is that-
right.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
saw the
Thank you,
flyer. I
fact
was just
checker.
looking at the flyer, yes.
Good. Because we know that it's very difficult. So we want to make it easier just to pick up the phone and make a call. Now, we still, we still have a supply issue. Supply has not quite met demand, but we are getting there. And the state, as we know, has opened up more vaccination sites on Long Island, including one at SUNY Old Westbury. So the state is running one at Jones Beach down in the south and SUNY Old Westbury up on the North Shore. So that's some good news. What else can I tell you? We have 3 different kinds. This has been covered in the news. There's the Moderna, Pfizer, and Johnson & Johnson that are authorized for use in the United States. And you can get all of those here depending on where you get it. And, I've had a lot of conversations with our health commissioner, Dr. Larry, who happens to be an epidemiologist. Who knew that would be so convenient? And he reassures me that whatever dose you can get, you should get, that each one is effective in preventing hospitalizations and death from COVID. That's really, really good news. They are all equally effective at that. So I was eligible starting on Wednesday for the vaccine. I'm planning to get it next week. So whatever they're given, I'm getting, and I'm really looking forward to it. On a personal note, I have not tested positive for the virus yet. I'm knocking on wood as I say that, but I have had to quarantine twice, 10 days each time, because I was a close contact with a positive. So I'm looking forward to getting the vaccine so I can stay out and about doing my job. And, I joke, but it's not really a joke, that the vaccine is our passport back to the land of normal. This will, we've been dealing with the health crisis, and we're also dealing with an economic crisis. We're dealing with a mental health crisis. I've got kids in school, and I see the toll that, half time in school is taking on them. Social isolation is taking on them. I'm looking forward to getting back to normal. And speaking of getting back to normal, I'll stop talking after I tell you this one thing. I went to the Coliseum last night to check out the beginning of the Islanders game. 10% capacity. I'm looking forward to that capacity increasing, but it was so wonderful to talk to the fans, to talk to the staff. Everyone felt really good about getting back. So we're getting there. It's taking a little longer than we want, but we're going in the right direction.
Good.
You are a hockey fan. I'm sorry, Otto.
Yeah, well, on a personal note, I've had both shots, Moderna, at Yes We Can. And I
Wonderful.
want to compliment the Nassau County Department of Health. The people who were there, it was very smooth. The people were great. The attitude was great. So A+ for that.
Thank you. I'll let them know.
The one thing that I wonder about is a lot of people, I'm not trying to scare people away from getting a shot, because I think you should definitely get a shot. But people do get side effects from the second shot, more so than they did from the first. And one of the things I heard, and I just want to know what you have heard about this, is that if you stay hydrated the day before and the day of, it'll minimize the side effects of the second shot. And I don't know if that's valid, or I just read this somewhere by, somebody like me who wrote it. Do you have any thought on that at all?
That's interesting. I'll have to ask Dr. Larry about that. Not being a doctor, I can't speak to that, but it certainly makes sense to me. Being hydrated is important for everything. One thing I want to say about the effects that you felt, Dr. Larry cautions us not to call them side effects. What they really are is your immune response. And when your immunity responses, you may be getting chills, maybe a fever, feeling tired, whatever it may be, sore arm. That means that your immune system is kicking in and that the vaccine is actually working. So it's your immune response. That's what's happening there. And that's very, very common. And I've heard a lot of people say they feel it a little more acutely after the second dose, but some haven't felt anything. Some felt it after both. It just depends on who you talk to.
Right. Well, one other one has really very little to do with anything, except it does. The fact that the vaccine is opening up more, and I know specifics in multiple cases. People had an appointment scheduled for April or whatever, and at Jones Beach or pick a spot. But all of a sudden they get an earlier appointment somewhere else. And my question about that is that I foresee a problem. And the problem is that if people do not cancel the shot, there's going to be all these shots planned at Jones Beach, for an example, in April, on April 20th or whatever day, and maybe 10% of the people are going to show up because there were a lot of cancellations because they had the good fortune of getting an appointment earlier. And I could foresee a big problem with that because, there'll be staffing, there'll be doses there that won't be used. And I just wondering if that has been thought about at all.
That is such a good point. And I'm really glad you brought it up. We're asking people, now that we're getting more supply down here, you may have an appointment in May, but then you can get another appointment maybe next week. So we're asking everyone, if you get an earlier appointment, please cancel that later appointment. It's so important. There are so many people who are desperate to get the vaccine, desperate to make appointments. We need everybody to help out and to please cancel those appointments. But, it's going to be inevitable that you will have some no-shows. It's just human nature, anything that you plan. And at our county Department of Health distribution sites, we're making sure, cancellations or no, we're making it work that we get every vaccine into an arm. So we have not wasted one dose. It's too precious. So we're bending over backwards to make sure that we get every single dose used. But it makes it more challenging to do that if people do not cancel their appointments if they're not coming.
Yeah, I mean, I could visualize it becoming a pretty big problem. Not just the doses, but you staff up for 400 doses and 40 people show up because they've all had, shots before. Just from a management point of view, I visualize that could be a big problem if people don't let or whoever the agency is that's doing the vaccine. It's really a major responsibility of us as citizens to make sure that we do cancel appointments that we're not going to keep.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you say we're in this together. We really are in this together. And you're right. It's the doses that could potentially not be used, and also the staff, those resources that are stretched very thin right now.
All right. You know what? I just got signal. We have 1 minute left. I just have one quick comment. I think that on different levels, town levels, county levels, I think everybody's been doing a good job of communication. Like you mentioned before, pop-ups and availability. I think it's, of course, with technology, it's easy, but I think everybody's been doing a really good job. We have to take a break. So once again, I'm Peter Janowski filling in for my very best friend, John Ryan, on Senior Talk Radio. This is 88.1 FM, WCWP.org. And once again, the senior hotline number is 516-227-9590, which was confirmed by Christina Liu. It is the correct number. It was great having Laura Curran come on and go over and update us. And I think I'll be signing off. So I'd like to wish everybody a happy and a healthy weekend.
Thank you. And I just want to thank, I just want to quickly thank the Town of North Hempstead. Judy Bosworth and the entire crew has been wonderful working with us at Yes We Can. Thank you for letting us use that facility.
So I get this call from my grandma, and she's like,
"What's a podcast and how much does it cost?"
So I tell her, podcasts are like radio shows, but you can download them on any device and listen to them anywhere at any time, and they're free. And then she says,
"I see, but where can you find good ones?"
And I'm like, go to wcwp.org/podcast and check out the lineup of original shows, or download any podcast app on your phone or tablet and search for LIU Studios. And she's all like,
"Oh, that sounds easy."
And then she asked me what an app is.
LIU Studios Podcasts, available on any podcast app. Those little button things on your phone screen. Just ask your grandkids.
Welcome back to Senior Talk Radio. This is Project Independence and You. And this voice you hear is Kristina Liu, who is the producer of this program. And we are just having quite a jam-packed day, Otto.
Here we are.
I have to give a special thank you to Peter Janowski, who is the partner, best friend, everything to John Ryan. And he was filled in today and did a great job. So thank you for Peter for doing that. And we've just had a great show. We've had on two amazing women so far who are just, we're lucky to call, elected officials. And I think that they're doing such great work in different, kind of realms in this government world, Otto. So it was nice to showcase that. And
both very, very competent, just like you.
Oh, well, I was waiting for that, Otto. I mean,
Yeah. Well, you gave me the cue card.
yes, I said 2 women. Now we're on to the third. But it really, like I said, that's my favorite part of the show. I was sitting there and, first we had Gina, and listening to Gina, just you felt through, Zoom and, hopefully through the airwaves, just how, she wants to make a difference. And I think that showed you, when you asked her how, why did you get into this? She always wanted just to help people. And that clearly has, shows through all of the different work she's done in different governmental kind of roles throughout her career. So
I didn't realize she was as involved with North Hempstead back with the community services thing.
Yeah, because when I actually started, I think she was actually, when I first interned, I think she was the deputy commissioner over there. So like I said, I've known Gina for a while, and so it was great. And then of course having County Executive Laura Curran on is wonderful, and hopefully, if her schedule permits, each week or so, or every few weeks, we'll kind of leave it up to, as I said, her schedule to just pop in and kind of give updates. Because the good thing is that, I have to say North Hempstead and, Nassau County, we really have a great partnership going, and there's a constant communication. She had mentioned this new hotline for seniors. And yesterday, we got it. They sent it over to the town. So I just want to say that again. It's 516-227-9590. It's Monday through Sunday, 9 a.m. to 4:45 p.m. And you can do everything from ask questions about the vaccine or help, getting an appointment. So it's certainly, I think everyone's doing their part, as we said, and that's it's great. And these pop-ups are wonderful. North Hempstead, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I want to say, pop-up events now, which I could speak of. I'm surprised I'm still standing, because it's been quite a whirlwind, and this is over just the course of, I think our first pop-up was the last week in February. So it's been every week we've been kind of doing it, and it's short notice because, like I said, it depends on when the supply is available. So you kind of got to act quick, in this whole thing. So we have, everyone knows I love a good number, and we've given out, I think it's almost 1,600. Yeah, it's 1,694 shots have been provided by, North Hempstead to seniors. So it's great. It feels really good. And what's so great is that I've been receiving letters and calls into 311 just from seniors who are expressing their gratitude, because it's really made a difference, and it's hard, to kind of figure out how to get these appointments. And that was causing so much stress for people, was navigating the system of kind of getting an appointment, and it was hit or miss and whatnot. But a lot of these pop-ups, and I hear them all around town, different pharmacies now are getting it. I even heard a Stop and Shop had, and that pharmacy was offering it. So I think that as time goes on and it becomes more readily available to people, it's going to get easier. And I've seen it, firsthand, certainly from when it first came out.
Was that in partnership with Northwell?
Our vaccines? So we actually did the first 3 of them were Catholic Health Services.
Right.
And then the second 2 that we did was with Northwell.
Right. Okay.
So so it's really great. And of course, not to toot our horn, but they're very impressed, with working with the ladies over at North Hempstead, because we it was quite the, we had these lists ready. We were hoping some stuff like this was going to happen. So, our social workers and nurses and just, all of us, just from months of planning, had a lot of lists of people that, wanted to get the vaccine and whatnot. So, and our next hope, Gina had mentioned it earlier too, is that, we really hope to figure out a way to get it to homebound seniors. Because I think that that's the most difficult. Obviously, they're the ones that can't get to a vaccine center and, are at risk. They have people coming in, aides and whatnot. So it's definitely important to keep them healthy too. So hopefully we'll kind of figure that out, how to do that too. So, and as Laura Curran said, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and I see it, each day. There's certainly some, positive stuff kind of going on, whether, we're opening in baby steps, these different venues, which is exciting.
open conversation here, but the people at home at this moment in time, not to mislead anybody, there is no program. Is that correct?
For what? For the hometown?
Yeah.
No, unfortunately not. We are hoping that, either whether it's Northwell or whoever, whatever health system it is, will be able to do that. And I know that they're trying to figure out, logistically how to do that. But, you can call 311. I could speak firsthand because I have a list going, a waiting list of people who are, interested. So this way, as soon as, something like that gets pulled together, we could kind of reach out and do it. So
they could call 311.
Yeah, and that's what I want to say.
And on the list.
Right, absolutely. And I can't,
Right.
Obviously, I wish I could give you a date, or something, that's definite. Unfortunately, it's not, but I know that, whether it's in partnership with North Hempstead or if it's some kind of information we're going to get, regardless, being on that list, at least we can contact you and let you know.
I imagine some of the problem is the fact that entering the home during.
Yeah, well, that's the issue, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not the supply part.
Yes.
It's more so just the logistics.
Right, and you just want to keep everyone safe, on both sides. So it's always kind of figuring out how that kind of works. When it's in these other kind of facilities, there's certain guidelines, and protocol that has to be followed. So you're able to do that. But as you were saying, in a home, that's a different kind of story. So, but we're hopeful that it'll get there. I know it's something that a lot of people have been talking about, figuring out a way to address. But I always want to encourage people, you just call 311 or 869-6311, because that's really just kind of the lifeline. You just call and you could ask these questions. And what is great is that we get information from so many different places, so it's kind of this data collection, hub. And that's really how our social workers and nurses, they're able to kind of lead you in the direction. Like every day there is something new, which is great. I have to say it's a positive thing that each day something new is kind of popping up, new information or whatnot. So I think it's important because that's what I noticed had happened, and a lot of was causing people anxiety was that they just didn't know, their communication wasn't there, for them. So having, Project Independence where they could ask these questions, I think is so important. So call 311 or 869-6311 for any of those kind of questions. But Otto, what I also want to tell people that is very exciting, because after this show ends at 12 o'clock, you could just have a whole North Hempstead day, because Supervisor Bosworth is delivering her State of the Town address. It's going to be on the town's website and Facebook page live at 12 p.m. And then throughout the month, it's going to be aired on North Hempstead TV. So you can check the schedules because it'll be, repeating there. And she's just going to go over everything that kind of accomplished in 2020, which we always talk about on this show. That is incredible, because even though the world kind of felt like it stopped, North Hempstead certainly didn't stop. It just kind of had to think outside the box and get creative in providing different services. And then she's going to talk about 2021, kind of what's going to go on. So,
well, Judy will be on this show.
Yes, Judy is in here on April, I believe in April sometime, right? I think I don't have the thing in front of me. It's in one of my multiple papers somewhere.
Yeah.
But she will be on doing a recap, which is always good. So we'll get firsthand. We could ask her all the questions that we're interested in. So that should be certainly wonderful. So yes, Judy will be on the show on April 9th.
Right. It's only two weeks. No, 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Yes, I know. We are approaching the end of March, we're just flying by. So
Right.
I definitely think people should watch it, because I always love, and that's what's weird this year. I mean, I've been going to the State of the Town address in person, for 10 years now, I guess. And it's really a great place to, not only hear everything that, the whole town has accomplished in 2020, and she goes over each department and whatnot. And, but then it's to kind of talk about 2021 and projected plans. And so it's good stuff. So definitely
not in person this year.
It is not in person this year. So that's what's very different, with everything. As much, even though we've been doing this for, over feels like a lifetime, but it's been like a year. It's still like gets you sometimes. You forget, like, oh my gosh, like it's just weird, like these kind of tradition things that you don't necessarily have. But it's okay. You can watch it, and we'll make do. And hopefully next year it will be in person, these things. So. But in the meantime, we have such great programming, and I want to remind people to tune in next week because we're going to have on Dr. Deep Parekh, who is an ophthalmologist and a retina specialist, and he's going to actually talk about macular degeneration and eye health for older adults. So
I have actually been talking to several people who have macular degeneration because I knew this was coming, and I'm looking forward to that. With the, a lot of people are concerned with, they know how to treat it theoretically, even though the treatments are limited. But a lot of people are very concerned about how do they live with it? What options do they have? Where will it go? How does it progress? There's a lot of questions. They would love to have a support group. Maybe we might learn a little more in between now and then. Of people who are in the same boat they're in.
Yeah, no, you're so right, Otto, because it's really, it's a complicated topic, and you hear that, and everyone like panic. But I have to say what's great is that in recent times, there's been so many new developments, and, hopefully we'll be able to go into that next week. So, but now we are approaching another break. So this is Project Independence and You Radio. This is WCWP 88.1 FM, and come back because we'll be talking about some more great stuff.
Take WCWP with you wherever you go with the WCWP app. Listen live 24/7 to all of our streams, all from one app. Plus, call the studios directly from the app and visit our social media. Download the app through the iOS App Store on Apple devices or the Google Play Store on Android by searching WCWP Radio, or visit WCWP.org for links. The WCWP app, available now on iOS and Android devices.
Welcome back to Senior Talk Radio, or should I say Community Talk Radio. This is Project Independence and You. I'm Kristina Liu, producer of this program and host, I guess, right now of this segment with Otto Los. We are missing our partner in crime, John Ryan, today. We miss him, so we are sending our love to him and hope he's with us next week to do this. But it's been a great show, and there's great stuff going on. So we will get back into all the wonderful programs, and what I hope that all of you listeners and watchers who are 60 plus, I hope you have received your copy of the Pioneer newsletter. It is jam-packed with great information. It's always nice to see it in the hard copy form. I absolutely love that, and it's filled with so much wonderful information. We have a little message from the supervisor. Northwell submitted to me an article about the COVID-19 vaccine. That's really interesting because it's telling you how it works. I know a lot of people are confused and trying to figure out kind of what's best for them. So that is in there, which is great. And of course, which is my favorite topic of late, is coping with stress during this whole this whole COVID-19 outbreak, because I think that that's important, for everyone. And some people think, it's stuff that, is kind of common sense. But I think reading it again, hopefully it sinks into people of just little things to do. But my personal favorite is, and I know I've mentioned it before, is the Thoughts to Ponder article by the one and only Otto Los with this beautiful headshot, which I absolutely love. It just looks so official, Otto. It was so much fun when I was doing the newsletter too. I was like, I know the perfect picture for this article. And it's great because everyone knows Otto's thoughts are ones that I think we've all had, and that makes you think. So it's one of those little things that are just little golden nuggets to kind of trigger something. I would say, right, Otto? We're just trying to get people.
Well, some of that comes out of laziness on my part. I'd rather read something short. I like reading short stuff. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of like, put it right there, short, think about it.
That's right. Because that's what Otto and I always talk about, because we both have a love of, bullet points, right? That's how I think it's easier for me to retain when there's a whole narrative. It gets you all crazy. It's hard to process. But these are just great tips. And I think, I love it because Otto has been a Project Independence member from, the beginning. So it's just nice to hear his thoughts, might be thoughts that you might have. So, and it gets you thinking. We also have a great feature about all of our wonderful exercise classes. I can't talk about these enough. These are just so incredibly amazing because we have pre-recorded ones that you can watch on North Hempstead TV, 7 days a week. And, there's all different. There's Tai Chi, there's yoga, there's fitness, there's dance. And what's great about all of these classes is that you could actually do them in a chair also. So if you are not someone who can get up and do it, they're able to be modified while in a chair. And I like that you could just be in your living room. You could be in your pajamas if you want. So which is nice about these virtual classes, doing that. So that is on North Hempstead TV. And then you could also do live, which is kind of a more interactive piece, which is dance fitness, and that's on Mondays, and that's with the fabulous Margaret. And then we have fitness on Wednesdays with Mike Mancini, and yoga on Thursdays with either Suzanne or the fabulous Rebecca Miller. You have to call 311 to register for those because you need the Zoom link. But it's great because that way, it's like you get to see people, you get to ask questions. So that's what's nice about that too. So you can certainly be doing all kinds of fitness all day long, with Project Independence, which I think is wonderful. So there's a whole blurb about that. And there, of course, is a great colorful, because I love a good graphic also, which I think is eye-catching in a newsletter, is really just kind of how to stay active. We're talking about this all the time, we say, and I think it's so important for not only your physical health, but your mental health. And hopefully, it looks a little cold. I haven't been outside today, but just looking out my window, it looks a little windy, a little chilly, not sure of the weather today. But we all can feel, the spring is coming. I mean, I have to say, I decorated our office at work with all of our spring stuff. So, I'm putting that out there that we are ready to say goodbye to winter and bring on spring and, and bring on the sunshine and flowers are blooming and whatnot. So it's just important to get out to move, and I always think of Otto always saying, oh, and I just got a hot tip from Dan that at 5:37 a.m. tomorrow is the beginning of spring. So thank you. Everyone mark that down. Set your alarms to wake up at 5:37 and say happy spring to the world. But back to getting to move. And Otto is always
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I have to say, Otto had a friend, and he's been talking about this for years now, that, to get up and move would walk around his dining room table, and I think that that's the point of this. Not everyone, needs to run a marathon. I think movement is, relative to what you're able to do. So I think any little thing that you can kind of incorporate into your life is beneficial. So go ahead.
Now, I just wanted to point out, you mentioned the sunshine and whatnot. I had a ray of sunshine this past St. Patrick's Day. Our daughter and her husband and grandson were able to come over to the house, stop by, and we were able to hug.
Aww.
And the reason was that we had all had our second shots within the last couple of weeks, so that there is light at the end of the tunnel. There is sunshine. We're going to get there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's so important, and it's, we say this, I mean, we clearly stress that constantly on the show, the importance of, kind of finding that silver lining in things. And I think that we're actually in a time where it's getting easier to do that. Listen, I'm not going to, a year ago, it was difficult to really kind of find that, that glimmer of hope because you felt so bogged down by everything that was going on. But, there really is, and each day, that's my favorite kind of alerts that I get on my phone, that'll say, oh, indoor venues, 10%, all these different, restaurants. So it's all these things that you're like, okay, cool. We're getting there, which is really, really cool. So.
Well, Laura mentioned that she went to the Islander game.
Yeah.
And was able to see people in the stands and whatnot. And what I'm going to look forward to, not that I'm necessarily going to be at the game, but any sporting event on television over the last year has had this fake noise in the background, like constant.
I know, it's horrible.
It'll be nice, even if it's 2,000 or 3,000 people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Real noise. It'll be a nice change from the button being pushed. Okay.
It is. It's the weird cardboard cutouts and whatnot.
Yeah.
Listen, I got to give it. Everyone's trying, but it's still kind of a weird vibe. Because that's what makes those. As much as you love watching the sport, it's this communal experience. I've said it a bazillion times, concerts, were my thing, so obviously not, since the last one I went to was, January 2 years ago, a year ago, I should say, before all this. And, so I look forward to that. I hope that they'll, I know that they're trying to figure out ways to kind of, do it safely and adjust it back. And I said, I'm down, whatever kind of new ways we got to do it, it'd just be nice, because it's just things like that. It's nice to have that kind of communal environment and everyone's there for, the same thing. So hopefully that'll be coming soon. And also in our Pioneer, which is another one of my favorite full pages, is the Project Independence and Radio Show page. We have a little blurb on the show. And then, of course, we have a great article submitted by Dan about different ways that you can listen to the PINU radio show. And especially, I can't tell people enough, the app is so great. If you have a smartphone or an iPad or, some kind of tablet device, whatever it is, having just that icon that you're able to, just press and listen live, I think is just, is really, really great. And of course, I had to throw in the newsletter too, just all the different highlights for 2020, because I say it all the time, the world we felt kind of was brought to a halt, but our program really just continued and got creative and created even new programming and ways to deliver old programming. So I just think it's so important to showcase all those and our partnerships and our social workers and nurses and all the people that work, with the Department of Services for the Aging, because it's really amazing things happened in a time where you felt, that, and that was my saving grace. I have to say, yes, we were working remote for a huge chunk, but having that connection and doing things and helping people, certainly helped me, get through this crazy time. So it's just great. And I have to give a shout out to our partners, the TRI Help at Home maintenance program. They are just incredible. It's a job training program, and they do gutter cleaning. Right now, they're only doing outside work still. Hopefully they're trying to figure out ways to transition safely to kind of doing some indoor stuff, but they're doing outdoor stuff, which is gutter cleaning, light yard work, moving something heavy, they do window washing on the first floor from the outside. So it's a great program. So you can call 311 or 869-6311 for that information. And then we're partnered with Rebuilding Together Long Island, which is an income-based program, and they are all volunteers, but they will help to install ramps or, handrails outside, or fix them. They do such amazing things too. And hearing and seeing, the services and how it really has impacted people's lives so greatly is incredible. And of course, EAC, that is our social workers, but we also work with them on a respite program to give those caregivers some time, to kind of get things that they need done. And they do Meals on Wheels. And then we have our Project Grass program, which is grandparents who take care of their grandchildren, and, the work that was help, because you think about all these people, it's such a hard thing. I can't say not being a caregiver is just one of the most difficult jobs, in the world. And the fact that especially a grandparent for a grandchild in this time, that is now this new kind of virtual world, it was a lot of adjustments. So North Shore Child and Family Guidance really came up with creative ways to help out there. So this is all in our Pioneer. It gives you just a glimpse into the amazing work that has gone on. And of course, on the back page, there's a bunch of different events that are coming up too. So,
well, the back page, by the way, is interesting to me because recycling is something that the town of North Hempstead has been strong proponents of. And unfortunately, in some respects, it's gotten kind of complicated.
But they are figuring it out. And Otto, we're going to dive back into that because we are approaching a break. So Everyone stay tuned. We'll talk more about that on Senior Talk Radio, Community Talk Radio, as Dan now loves. on 88.1 FM, WCWP.org.
WCWP is your home for great music and great conversation. You'll find all that and more on WCWP.org. Listen live on the web, check out the lineup, subscribe to podcasts, and stay up to date on the latest station events. Get in touch with us and let us know if you like what you're hearing. And find out how you can support or get involved at the only community public radio station serving Nassau's North Shore. Plus, sign up to get a free bumper sticker. It's all online at WCWP.org.
And welcome back to Community Talk Radio. This is Project Independence and You. We are in the Talk of the Town segment where we're talking all things North Hempstead that are going on. And if you could only see the multiple papers on my desk, you would know how much is really going on in North Hempstead. And I'm here with the fabulous Otto Los, my partner in crime today, Otto.
Morning, Kristina.
Yeah, we're really just flying through the show today.
We're zipping right along.
We really are. I mean, my God, we can't even come up for air. We're just going through. But prior to the break, we were talking about one of North Hempstead's things. And I'm sure the supervisor will address a lot of this also in her State of the Town after the show. You could check it out online, as we had said in previous breaks. But the STOP program is always a favorite amongst, North Hempstead residents. And, because it's a place that you could not only get rid of, sensitive documents, see that shredded. You can also get rid of all these household chemicals and all kinds of things. There's a whole list. And if you call 311, you can get that list, because it is coming up on Sunday, March 21st is the first one, which is really great. And what they're doing now, because of COVID, is that you sit in your car and then they take it out of the car for you. So there's not that kind of contact, which is great. And also at this event is going to be e-waste drop off. So you could also drop off anything that classifies as e-waste at this program too. So it's a great time to spring clean and kind of get rid of all these things. I mean, I think all of us have something that falls under this category that we can get rid of.
Well, the e-waste thing, what's interesting there is if you happen to have had an older television before the nice flat ones came about, and you look at it, it looks pretty safe, but they weigh about 250 pounds. So if you get one to the e-waste drop-off, they will get it out of the car for you.
Absolutely.
So, they're cumbersome and they're difficult to handle. You have to get it in the car or the vehicle, but you do have to get rid of it eventually. Yeah,
and it's just, it's these things that, you don't even realize sometimes how to get rid of certain things. And that's why I always encourage people to call 311 or 869-6311. I always want to remind everyone. Because it's certainly, there's so many different things. And I always tell people the best, which I do for myself, is as you're going along, just have a box and kind of keep these things that that need proper disposal. And then when a program like this comes up, you're able to kind of do that. I mean, especially with papers, I think, you're allowed to bring up to 6 kind of banker size boxes to have shredded. And I think it's important, you forget sometimes the importance of really shredding sensitive documents. Unfortunately, we live in a time when a lot of these scams that go on, we try and talk about, because it's doing something like that is just kind of protecting yourself a little, as much as you can. So it's certainly important to do. And there's a whole bunch of dates in addition, but the first one coming up is Sunday. So I encourage people to really do that. So, and I want to remind people, I think for a few years now, the Shed the Meds program used to be in collaboration with the STOP program, but unfortunately they wanted to have a separate event so they could really account for the safety of disposing of all these meds, which I get makes sense. So the first one for that is May 8th. But you could also go to any local police department anytime to drop off meds before that. So there's like a little box there.
The big point there is don't throw it in the garbage because it winds up in groundwater and waterways, and that's not a good thing.
Yeah, no, and I mean, how many times in these old school kind of way you'd see the people flushing it down the toilet, it's all these things that you don't, you don't even really think about, and that, Otto and I were talking during the break that we definitely want to have someone from North Hempstead Swarmer department to kind of talk about all these different wares, because there's so many programs. North Hempstead really prides itself in, recycling and sustainability. And speaking of that, sustainability, there is going to be great programs that are coming up too. And this is all, I like it too, because it's all kind of part of spring and renewal. That's what I think when these programs start coming back. And so it's learning sustainability techniques on how to make your home, garden, and yard more environmentally friendly. These are all going to be virtually via Zoom. The first one is April 10th, and that's about yard care. On April 24th, there's creating rain gardens. And on April 24th also is going to be native plant gardening. So they're going to talk about all different kind of things to do, which I think is certainly interesting to do. But you call 311, you'll get all the information, and you'll get a Zoom link for those. So.
Maybe a future target here for this show, spring is coming, as Dan pointed out, tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Yes, tomorrow, 5:37 a.m.
Yeah. Tomorrow, by the way, March 21st, 65 years ago, I was standing on the platform of the Jamaica train on the Elditz Lane station, which you have no idea where that is, but it's right by Franklin K. Lane High School.
Okay.
And I was going to report in for my draft in Whitehall Street in downtown New York. And at 65 years ago, which is almost impossible for me to realize, because everybody back then, you had to go. And it was my turn, March 21st, 1956, standing on the platform, never been away from home before, 19 years old. Now, everybody knows how old I am. But and I'm going into Manhattan on the train to downtown New York to Whitehall Street, which is where you went. And I get there and have no idea. And on the platform, I meet a guy, his name is Heinz Buck. And Heinz, I didn't know from anything, but the two of us were the only people standing on the platform. So we started to talk, and it turns out he was going to Whitehall Street, and he had been drafted. So the two of us now are on the train going to Whitehall Street. And we get there, and scared to death because you have no idea what you're getting into.
Of course.
So you go into the draft thing, and back then, when I was going that day, they ask you, where would you like to be drafted? All right. So I said Air Force, then I said Marines, then I said Army, then I said Navy was my fourth choice. All right.
So they gave you Navy?
So they go down the line. I'm not making this up. They go down the line. We're all standing in a long line because everything is lines in the military back then, especially. And they go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, Navy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, Navy. Myself and this guy, Heinz Buck, who was on the platform with me, both wound up in the Navy. We both wound up in boot camp together in Bainbridge, Maryland.
Wow.
For 12 weeks. And then after that, he went where he went and I went where I went. But what's interesting about that, the Plato Park in Franklin Square? Mm-hmm. There's a manager there, general manager, Matt Buck. It turns out Matt is the grandson of Heinz Buck, who I met on the platform that time.
Wow. See, that's my favorite.
So, we were in the Navy together, and he went where he went, and I didn't see Heinz for years, and then we ran into each other at this Plato Park.
Wow, that's so cool, Otto. See, those are my favorite kind of stories because I'm a firm believer in, connectivity and time and place with certain things. So
it's hard for me to believe it was 65 years ago, but I do remember.
I don't even know how that's possible, Otto, when you're younger than 65.
Yeah, I know. That's what's hard to believe. The math doesn't work out.
It just doesn't make sense. So,
no, it doesn't.
But, it's just important, and tomorrow is National French Bread Day. So, if people want to celebrate that, that's what, they could think about Otto's draft story while eating French bread.
Good bread is good.
So that's really, and then today is, this is quite exciting. Today's holiday, as everyone knows we love to discuss on this show, is National Chocolate Caramel Day. So you
I'll
know
be
what?
picking up a Milky Way later.
Oh, there we go. See, Dan waits for this so he could plan out his weekend and what kind of snack he could eat. So that's what we like here. And then on March 20th is Won't You Be My Neighbor Day also. So quite the exciting time, guys. Plan out your week accordingly for all these fun little holidays that are out.
Won't you be my neighbor?
Yeah. So and see, and you can join the Neighbors Helping Neighbors program at Project Independence. If you really want to help out your neighbor, we're laughing, but Otto always says too that is a major part of the Project Independence kind of grassroots program is this Neighbors Helping Neighbors program, because, I think about that all the time in, with Project Independence and how people heard about it and whatnot. And, we can do, newsletters and email newsletters and, all kinds of flyers. And yes, that certainly gets the word out, but I still believe that the best way to really reach people, are through our Project Independence members who have been with us, like an Otto, for a long time. They're kind of our ambassadors, and by telling, your experience with Project Independence or a service you used, I think really makes the difference, because especially for someone that might be hesitant or nervous or not really understand what we're all about, hearing that from someone who's your peer, I think is important. So that I always say thank you to all of our PI members who know about the program and go out and kind of preach the word of Project Independence.
Well, the neighbors helping neighbors and neighborhood in general has changed over the years very dramatically, in my opinion.
Of course.
For a lot of reasons, really. People are much more absorbed in what they do for a living. Now there's both people in the house working. Even the kids who are in the house are either active or, you don't see a lot of people walking around their home. They're not sitting on the stoop, if you will, too often. So the world has gotten very different compared to many, many years ago, where neighbors really knew neighbors.
Right, you'd see them.
And it's difficult to know your neighbors now, really. Yeah. And part of that is just because that's the way it is.
The way of the world, I know, you're right.
And so you do the best you can within the scope of what it is. Like, I'm very fortunate on both sides of me. I have very good neighbors. They put the newspaper on the steps as opposed to out in the middle of the lawn, and use the snow blower. And reciprocation, if I see garbage cans out, I'll put the garbage cans back in. So you do what you can do.
Yeah, no,
all as that may be, but
yeah, it's the little things that and you're right, because I think about that the way half the time I don't see people, everyone, you're right. It's the way of the world. People are in the house, they're working, whatever, they're out and about, it's a different time. But I have to say, on my block too, and I have to really chalk up to my husband, because he's like very connected to all the neighbors. I laugh with him because it's always my husband, and he has like his senior crew, and they're the ones, the OGs of the block, and I think they're passing the torch to my husband, but he always gets the latest scoop of things, and I'll see him outside with like his little crew of people. And I have to say, my block always appreciates my decoration. So they always give a shout out. They enjoy that. And then my husband's landscaping as well. So it's definitely important. And that's, we are approaching the end of Project Independence and You, Community Talk Radio, which is our new hot tagline. You heard it here first, everyone. But it's important to get out there. As we said, we're all in this together, I think, in the global sense. So thank you for listening, and come back next week. Thank you, Otto. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Dan, and all of our great guests. And John, we hope you're with us next week. So come back and listen to some great stuff. This is Senior Talk Radio.